A body that could be a man missing more than a month, found floating in a blue hole.
Beneath the Red Sea, just off the coast of Dahab in Egypt, lies a place divers call the most dangerous dive site in the world, the Blue Hole. From the surface, it looks peaceful, almost like a calm swimming pool cut into the reef.
Emerging into the huge blue space from that narrow canyon.
But once you descend, that calm turns into a silent graveyard. Over 100 divers have lost their lives here, pulled deeper into the abyss by a mysterious tunnel known as the Arch. Now, new explorations have revealed something even more disturbing, hidden beneath this deadly sinkhole, a discovery that changes everything we thought we knew. The hidden tunnel. For years, rumors spread across the diving community and online forums about a secret passage hidden deep beneath the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt. Stories described it as a shadowy tunnel that lured divers in, never to let them return. Many dismissed these tales as myths or exaggerations, the kind of chilling legends that grow around dangerous places. But in this case, the stories weren't false. The tunnel exists, and it has claimed more lives than most people realize. Divers know it by a far more infamous name, the Arch. The Arch is no ordinary tunnel. It is a massive underwater passage that connects the Blue Hole to the open Red Sea. At first glance, it seems like an exciting challenge. A gateway carved into the reef, a path that promises adventure and freedom beyond the pit. Yet what looks like a doorway is, in reality, a trap. For the untrained or the overconfident, those numbers spell disaster. What makes this tunnel deadly isn't the rock or the cave itself. It's what happens to the air inside a diver's tank once they go deep. At the surface, every breath feels normal, but with each meter down, the pressure rises. The air is squeezed tighter, and the body absorbs more of the gases in each breath. At around 30 meters, nitrogen starts to act like alcohol in the brain. It makes the divers feel lightheaded, confident, even reckless. This is nitrogen narcosis, and it makes them believe they can swim farther than they should.
By the way, this looks amazing to dive, this section.
Go deeper, and the problems stack. Oxygen, harmless at the surface, turns toxic under pressure. Too much can trigger dizziness, convulsions, even blackout without warning. At the same time, the air itself feels heavier and harder to pull in. Each breath takes more effort, draining the tank faster than expected.
They seem to be kicking gently to stay where they are, floating together.
Inside the Blue Hole's arch, this combination is lethal. A diver may think they're in control, but in reality, their judgment is blurred, their air is vanishing, and their body is seconds away from shutting down. That's why the Blue Hole is called the Diver's Cemetery. There is no question about its existence. The tunnel is not a myth. It has been documented, mapped, and photographed. Yet despite the warnings, many still attempt it, chasing glory, thrill, or simply underestimating the risk.
3, 2, 1.
The Arch is as real as the deaths it has caused, and it is a passage carved by nature that preys on human error. To truly understand why this site is so infamous, we must first take a step back. What exactly is a blue hole, and why do they hold such danger for those who dare to enter? What is a blue hole? At its core, a blue hole is a natural sinkhole in the ocean. Picture a massive circular pit in the seabed, like a giant well that drops straight down into darkness. These pits are formed in limestone or carbonate rock, and their origins stretch back thousands of years. During the Ice Ages, sea levels were far lower than they are today.
Just a massive sinkhole in the ocean. You see, back in the Ice Ages, the sea was hundreds of feet lower than it is today.
Water cut into the soft limestone, forming caves and tunnels underground. When the seas eventually rose, many of these caves collapsed. What was left were deep, vertical shafts that were filled with water. That is what we call a blue hole. The name blue hole isn't just a catchy term. It describes exactly what the eye sees. From above, the contrast is dramatic. The shallow turquoise waters of the surrounding reef suddenly give way to an abrupt, circular patch of dark blue. The depth swallows light, giving it that eerie, almost ink-colored look. Divers often describe the feeling of approaching a blue hole as standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into a bottomless pit. That sense of mystery is part of what makes these sites so alluring, but also so dangerous. Blue holes can be found all over the world. Some of the most famous include Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas, which plunges more than 200 meters deep.
We just made it to the famous Dean's Blue Hole. It is the deepest saltwater blue hole in the world.
And the Great Blue Hole in Belize, a massive circular sinkhole more than 300 meters across that is visible even from space. These sites attract explorers, scientists, and thrill seekers alike. But whether large or small, all blue holes share the same risky feature. They are what divers call overhead environments. This means once you are inside, you don't have a straight line to the surface. If something goes wrong, you can't just shoot up and breathe fresh air. You are trapped inside walls of rock and water. Even relatively shallow blue holes can disorient divers. The vertical walls are like narrow corridors, and the water's clarity can trick the eye. Without clear reference points, divers lose track of how deep they've gone. Sometimes, divers mistakenly swim downward, thinking they're moving forward. The deeper they go, the stronger the risks. Oxygen depletion, nitrogen narcosis, and the simple fact that the exit is no longer a quick swim upward. The blue hole at Dahab doesn't even rank as the deepest in the world. At around 130 meters, or about 430 feet, it's not especially impressive compared to giants like Dean's or Belize's. But what makes it infamous is not the depth of the hole itself, but what lies hidden at the bottom edge. Dahab's blue hole conceals a tunnel, not a small crack or crevice, but a natural stone archway that links the blue hole to the open Red Sea. Divers call it the Arch, and this is where the tragedy begins. Because the arch isn't just a crack, but a sloping stone tunnel that lures divers deeper than they realize. Inside Dahab's arch.
So here they are at the blue hole, getting ready. They have doubles in their bag, so it's a technical dive. They're going deep.
The arch is the true killer of Dahab's blue hole. Its entrance rests at 56 meters below the surface, already far past the safe limits of recreational diving, which usually cap around 40 meters. To even see the arch, divers must push their bodies and equipment into a zone where survival depends on training, precision, and absolute control. Divers often describe the site as a breathtaking, wide stone window carved into the vertical wall of the blue hole, opening directly into the endless blackness of the Red Sea. The light at this depth is dim, scattered into deep blue shadows, so the arch looks like a glowing gateway into nothingness. For some, it is an irresistible lure. For others, it is an unmistakable warning. The arch itself is not a short tunnel. It stretches with a deceptive slope, running downwards until it finally meets open water somewhere between 92 and 120 meters deep. That range is important because no single diver can be sure of where the exit truly lies. The tunnel is not perfectly level, and each swim through is different depending on conditions. This uncertainty has cost lives. At this depth, the body starts to fight back. Divers breathe from tanks filled with compressed air, but the deeper they go, the denser that air becomes. Every breath delivers more gas, and that means the tank empties much faster. A supply that could last 30 minutes at 20 meters might be gone in as little as 5 minutes inside the arch. Gas consumption becomes the silent killer. Every kick of the fins, every hard pull for air, every panicked movement drains the tank faster. And when the gauge finally shows empty, the danger comes in stages.
It's a very deep sinkhole surrounded by a very shallow atoll. Not much oxygenated water circulates deep down.
First, the diver feels the sudden resistance as they try to inhale, but nothing comes. Instinct makes them kick harder, searching for a last breath. Some may switch to a backup regulator if they have one, but many don't carry it this deep. Next comes the desperate scramble. The lungs start burning, and the body demands oxygen that isn't there. At this point, a diver near the surface could shoot upward, but in the arch, that isn't possible. The rock ceiling blocks any direct escape. The only option is to push forward, to swim the full length of the tunnel, and pray the Red Sea appears before blackout sets in. For many, it doesn't. The arch adds to the trap by playing tricks on the senses. Its floor slopes downward, not flat, so divers often swim deeper without realizing it. The faint blue glow of the Red Sea beyond looks close, but it is much farther than it seems. In this twilight zone, a 1-meter drop feels like a single step, and a 30-meter descent can happen almost unnoticed. Divers describe it as if the tunnel itself pulls them downward. At such depths, the ocean weighs on every part of the body. Breathing grows harder, and each inhale feels thick and heavy.
The deeper underwater you swim, the less you float. This is because the pressure of the water above you counteracts your body's buoyancy.
Panic is never far away, and panic underwater is almost always fatal. Even the most skilled divers, trained for years, can find themselves overwhelmed inside the arch. And these are not distant, hypothetical risks. The arch has a history written in tragedy. Divers from around the world have entered with confidence, only to vanish into the tunnel's blue glow. And it is these tragedies, the bodies found, the mysteries left behind, that gave the Blue Hole its chilling reputation as the diver's cemetery. And the most shocking is the Stephen Keenan story. The Stephen Keenan story. Stephen Keenan was no ordinary diver. Born in Ireland, he had built a reputation as one of the most skilled and respected safety divers in the world of freediving.
Steve and I were always trying to dive deeper. It became like a game between us.
By the year 2017, he had already saved dozens of athletes from blackouts and near drownings. Friends described him as calm, confident, and someone who thrived under pressure. He had relocated to Dahab years earlier, drawn by the challenge of the Blue Hole and the tight-knit community of divers who treated the site as both playground and proving ground. That July, the arch would test him in the most brutal way. Italian freediver Alessia Zecchini, one of the sport's rising stars, had set her sights on swimming through the arch in a single breath. It was one of freediving's ultimate challenges, an underwater passage starting at 56 meters deep and exiting at nearly 100. Few had ever managed it, and many had died trying. Alessia was young, strong, and trained, but even for her, the dive carried enormous risk. Stephen was by her side as chief safety diver. His job was simple in words, but deadly in practice: to shadow her descent, meet her at the arch, and ensure she returned safely if anything went wrong. At first, the dive seemed smooth. Alessia reached the arch entrance, slipped through its massive opening, and began the long crossing.
It was clear that Alessia was after the world record.
She moved with control, her body streamlined against the blue void. But as she pushed back toward the ascent, the stress of the dive caught up with her. At around 50 meters, Alessia blacked out. Her body went limp in the water. Stephen reacted instantly. With years of experience, he knew what he had to do. He caught her, positioned her head back to keep her airway clear, and began guiding her upward toward the surface. He had done rescues like this before, but this was deeper and more demanding than most. As he fought to bring Alessia up, Stephen's body was under enormous strain. The dive had already pushed him close to his limits. Oxygen was running low. His muscles screamed for air. and the weight of dragging another diver made the ascent slower than usual.
60. Sorry.
Still, he pushed on, refusing to let go. Near the surface, Alessia regained consciousness. Thanks to Stephen's quick actions, she survived. But Stephen himself never made it. Just meters from safety, he suffered a shallow water blackout, a silent and deadly loss of consciousness caused by oxygen depletion during ascent. Rescue divers rushed to help, but it was too late. Stephen Keenan died in the water he had spent his life protecting others from. The freediving world was shaken. Stephen was only 39 years old, at the peak of his career and known as one of the sport's best. His death made headlines across the globe, not only because of the tragedy, but because of the courage he showed in his final moments. Without him, Alessia would almost certainly have died.
He almost died there, so he started to be interested in being a safety diver.
In the year 2023, Netflix released The Deepest Breath, a documentary that told Stephen's story. Viewers saw the human side of freediving, the beauty, the passion, but also the risk that never goes away. Stephen's sacrifice became a symbol of both the danger and the dedication found in the sport. The Arch had claimed another victim, and this time it was one of the very best. And Stephen was not the first nor the last. The Blue Hole bears witness to its victims in silence through the memorial plaques that line its cliffs. Worse than we thought. Memorials and fatalities. Visitors to Dahab's Blue Hole are met by something eerie before they even touch the water. A stone wall near the site's entrance is covered in plaques. This memorial wall is not decoration, but a record of tragedy. Each plaque belongs to a diver who went into the Blue Hole and never came out. The numbers are staggering.
Diving here allows people to get up close and personal with the hole's main attraction, its huge stalagmites and stalactites.
Some reports say that between 100 and 200 divers have died here, though no exact count exists. If true, that makes this the most dangerous dive site in the world. The Blue Hole's calm surface and crystal waters look inviting, but this is part of its deception. The beauty hides what lies beneath. Most of these deaths cluster around the Arch. This submerged tunnel seems like the ultimate prize for thrill seekers, yet stories of fatalities are haunting. In one case, a Russian diver set out to film his journey through the Arch. His camera later revealed his final moments. Disoriented by narcosis, he lost his bearings and drifted downward instead of upward. His body was later recovered at over 100 meters. In another tragedy, an experienced British diving instructor vanished during a solo attempt. His memorial plaque now rests among many others. For local Bedouin guides and rescue teams, these recoveries are grimly routine. Some bodies are never found at all, swallowed by the vast depth below the Arch. Divers who attempt retrieval describe it as one of the most harrowing jobs in the field. Strong currents, poor visibility, and the sheer depth make recovery missions as risky as the dives that led to disaster. The plaques on the wall tell silent stories of lost fathers, daughters, and friends. Families from around the world come to Dahab. Sometimes just to touch the stone that bears their loved one's name. The memorial has grown so large that it shocks new visitors. For many, it is the first clear warning that the Blue Hole's reputation is not exaggerated. Local divers often shake their heads when tourists call it a bucket list site. They know better. They have seen lives cut short, dreams of adventure turned into funerals. To them, the Blue Hole is less a playground and more a predator, claiming victim after victim in exchange for its beauty. The lesson is chilling, but clear. Even the most trained divers are not immune. The Blue Hole's arch has a pull that is hard to resist, but for many, that pull has been fatal. But Dahab's arch is only one chapter. Scientists now turn their eyes to even deeper mysteries like Mexico's Tam Ja Blue Hole. Mexico's Tamja Blue Hole.
They verified it as the second deepest blue hole in the world and named it Tamja.
In the summer of 2023, scientists announced something extraordinary. Off the coast of Mexico, in the shallow waters of Chetumal Bay, they had mapped a discovery that pushed the limits of the known world. This was the Tamja Blue Hole, and it stunned experts by plunging more than 400 meters straight down. That is 1,310 feet of vertical depth, making it the deepest blue hole on Earth. From above, Tamja looks like nothing more than a dark oval patch hidden in turquoise waters. But beneath that calm surface lies a shaft that swallows light and sound. Researchers dropped sensors into it, expecting a smooth funnel. What they found instead was a maze. Sonar scans revealed sheer walls, sudden overhangs, and even signs of branching passages that might stretch outward, like the arms of an underground labyrinth. These discoveries created more questions than answers. Could those side tunnels connect to Mexico's massive Yucatan cave systems? Could they hide new species, trapped in the dark for thousands of years? No one can say for certain, because no human has been able to descend far enough. At 400 meters deep, Tamja is simply beyond the safe reach of scuba divers. Even with advanced technical equipment, the logistics are overwhelming. A single dive would require an army of support divers, specialized gases, and hours of decompression. For now, the hole guards its secrets. Instead of humans, machines do the exploring. Scientists rely on sonar, autonomous sensors, and computer models. These tools show that Tamja is not just deep, but is alive with unexpected activity. Strong currents swirl near its walls, moving in ways that puzzle researchers. Some layers of water are filled with oxygen, while others are suffocated by hydrogen sulfide, creating zones where only certain organisms can survive. This strange chemistry makes the site a natural laboratory, offering clues to how life adapts in extreme environments. To divers who hear about it, Tamja is both tempting and terrifying. Many compare it to Dahab's infamous blue hole in Egypt, but with one critical difference. Tamja remains untouched. There are no memorial plaques at its edge, no tales of lost explorers. The danger here comes not from human tragedy, but from the unknown. For now, it is a frontier that only machines dare to enter. Yet the mystery pulls at the imagination. What lies in those unreachable side tunnels? Are there hidden chambers, ancient fossils, or even new ecosystems waiting to be discovered? Until technology improves, the answers remain locked in the dark. For scientists, Tamja is a reminder that Earth still holds unexplored realms, places as alien and dangerous as the surface of another planet. And Tamja is not alone. Across the world, other blue holes hold their own secrets, each one with its own story of beauty, danger, and the unknown. Dragon Hole and global parallels. In the South China Sea lies another of nature's vertical giants, known as the Dragon Hole. Discovered by Chinese researchers in recent years, this blue hole drops to a measured depth of about 300 meters. That makes it the second deepest known on the planet, trailing only behind Mexico's Tamja Blue Hole. Unlike many sinkholes that are ringed by tourist boats, the Dragon Hole is hidden within a disputed stretch of ocean, which only adds to its air of mystery. Its sheer drop, lined with walls of dark limestone, remains almost entirely uncharted by human divers. Blue holes are often compared, but each carries its own dangers. The world-famous Blue Hole in Belize is far shallower, reaching only about 124 meters.
There's a massive underwater sinkhole off the coast of Belize.
Yet, its depth is enough to claim lives. The hazard here is not the numbers on a depth gauge, but the invisible hand of narcosis, which clouds a diver's mind when nitrogen pressure increases. A diver who appears calm on the surface can, at just a fraction of Tamja's or Dragon Hole's depth, lose awareness and drift into danger without realizing it. Scientists study these sites not only for their extreme geography, but also for the hidden knowledge they protect. The still water at the bottom of a blue hole can preserve records of climate history stretching back thousands of years. Layers of sediment act like pages of an old diary, capturing shifts in sea levels, storm cycles, and even hints of ancient life. Some holes also contain rare microbes that thrive in dark, oxygen-starved zones. These microbes are of deep interest to researchers because they may resemble life that could exist on other planets. For divers, though, the attraction is something different. Blue holes represent the ultimate challenge of vertical gateways into the unknown. They lure thrill seekers, explorers, and free divers who want to test human limits. The calm surface hides the truth. Silt clouds that can blind vision in seconds. Strange haloclines where salt water and freshwater layers bend light into shimmering walls. And dangerous gas shifts where the wrong mix can knock out a diver before they have time to react. Each of these hazards has written its mark into diving history. Belize's Blue Hole, despite being a tourist site, has claimed victims. The Dragon Hole is so deep that few dare attempt it. And then there is Dahab's Blue Hole in Egypt, all serving as a chilling reminder that beauty can mask lethal traps. Across the globe, blue holes guard their secrets even as scientists approach them as time capsules of Earth's past. Divers approach them as ultimate tests of courage. Yet in both cases, the truth remains the same. These are places where the line between wonder and danger is razor thin, which raises the ultimate question. Why do divers continue to underestimate it? Why divers underestimate the arch? Other than the fact that the blue hole's surface looks like a harmless swimming pool, many divers tend to cause harm to themselves through their own fault. Every year, divers from around the world arrive at the blue hole, staring at the calm circle of water as if it is just another dive site. What many fail to realize is that the danger is not on the surface, but hidden far below. And one reason is overconfidence. Many divers with only recreational training attempt the arch, believing their basic skills are enough. But recreational diving limits are not designed for deep passages with overhead ceilings. Without advanced training, divers misjudge how much gas they need, how fast nitrogen builds up in their blood, or how quickly they can become disoriented in the tunnel's darkness. Modern GoPro culture adds fuel to the problem. Divers want to capture footage of themselves crossing the arch to post online. The promise of bragging rights tempts them to attempt dives far beyond their experience. What they forget is that a short video clip cannot show the slow onset of nitrogen narcosis or the sudden panic when a regulator fails at depth. Gas planning is another fatal weakness. Many attempt the arch with only 1 or 2 cylinders, when proper safety requires multiple staged tanks and the use of trimix gas. Without helium in the mix, nitrogen narcosis is almost guaranteed past 100 feet. Without spare tanks waiting at planned stops, a diver who miscalculates their air has no second chance. Technical diving agencies are clear. The arch should only be attempted by trained teams with the right equipment. Even then, survival depends on discipline. Divers must stick to strict depth limits, carefully planned gas switches, and constant awareness of their surroundings. A single mistake can mean a silent, irreversible descent. What makes the arch so dangerous is how deceptive it is. From above, it looks peaceful. From inside, the tunnel seems close enough to cross. Yet countless bodies recovered from the depths prove otherwise. The arch is real. It is not a myth, and it is not new. But its danger is worse than most imagine. The blue hole has taken hundreds of lives. It has humbled experts and continues to pull in those who think they are prepared. Its waters remind us of a truth that cannot be ignored. The ocean's mysteries are not only wonders to explore, but forces that demand respect.